The ultralight quads are upon us. Welcome to the Flynoceros Æther. Look at this arm! I can't wait to get this thing opened. So let's get this opened up and take a look at it. Wait! Before we do, when you buy an ultralight frame, what do you gotta do? Buy an extra set of arms. Alright, I'm excited about this. Look at this packaging. This thing is amazing. It's cool. It doesn't actually have the product name up here on the label, but still the fact that it actually took effort and put it all in here made it look nice. It's a little bit more impressive than other ones that I've reviewed. So here's some little 3D printed pieces, and I think, we'll find out for sure, but I think the whole pod of this is soft mounted to the frame. And here's the parts for it back here on the back. So here are all the pieces that come with it. The 3D printed pieces and some spacers, the hardware, a couple of plates, the side plates, and these arms. Now these arms are different than any other arms I've seen so far. They got these little grooves cut in them. And what they do, they slip over like this, slide into each other. Perfect. Looks like this. That way your arms are basically all together, and when I move them like this, there's no wiggle room inside here. These things are cut near perfect. Looks like it's going to be a stretch dex. Kind of excited about that too. Now I do think that when you replace these, you have to actually replace the whole arm at the same time. We'll find out for sure, and I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this put together and we'll take a little closer look at it. So here I have the top pod partially assembled, and I wanted to show you how this actually works. There are these 3D printed pieces that push up into the main plate here. And now there's the plates are a little different. This one has a smaller holes, and this one here has a little bit larger holes. You want to make sure you're using one with the smaller holes. But it goes like this, and then the little spacers go through here, and that's what's going to hold the top on. These arms, once they're together like this, they should slip right down in here. Just a little bit of play on them. There we go. And they fit right down in there, almost flush with the bottom of this. And then this piece kind of comes in here and sandwiches it all together. And there, now you can see that the carbon fiber arms and the 3D printed pieces are pretty much the same length. And so what that allows you to do is you're only going to need 4 screws to hold the arms on. Now normally you'd have to have 8 because you're going to have 2 on each arm. So this is actually going to cut down a little bit of weight because of the arms overlapping in the middle. And because of that, they don't need to have 2 screws in each arm. Just have 2 in 2 arms. So here's the frame, and this thing came out real nice. I would expect there'd be a little bit of a play when I move these arms, but pushing these arms in and out, there's like no play in them. And of course there won't be any play, you know, on the opposing arms because they're all one piece. But I really like how they got away with having 1 screw and 1 lock nut for each arm. It really makes for a low amount of hardware on this frame. Now this little 3D printed piece here, I've never seen this before. Now I don't know that this is really going to do a lot for eliminating vibrations from your flight board, but it will eliminate vibrations from getting up to your camera, which is nice. And it's not like they're going to do a lot of anti-vibration stuff, but they'll do enough that it could be noticeable. And also on this frame up here, you have 3 different holes where you can mount your run camera or whatever camera you're using. And they also gave you 2 extra little screws like this and 2 little small washers, which at first I didn't know what they were for, but I think they're to hold those cameras into place. Also back here on the back it has a holder for your video transmitter antenna, and that just pushes into the 2 pieces of carbon fiber on the sides. So let's go ahead and get this weighed. I got the scale here, and I went ahead and I threw the camera screws and washers on there just because they came in the kit. And the whole quadcopter included comes up to be about 71 grams. 71 grams is great, and I would almost classify it as a hyperlight. And I would definitely say it's going to compete with the hyperlights more so than the more traditional racing quad size of frames that are more close to 90 to 100. Here's an older Flynoceros frame. This thing was built to be a tank, and this was built with the old ideas to build one that's indestructible. And just for grins, I was going to put this on the scale, see what it weighs. 150 grams. Holy shnikes. Now the nice thing about this frame though, this is their WT-FPV frame. The nice thing about this, you're not going to break this thing in a crash. I mean, look at the size comparison and the size difference in this. This old 150 size gram versus the new 70 size gram. This thing is less than half the weight. Insane. Now this one, yeah, good luck breaking about anything on this frame. This is probably a near indestructible frame, which was kind of the old idea. You know, build a frame that can take a lot of abuse and a lot of crashes and keep flying. The new idea is to build a frame that's light and fast, and when the arms break, make them fairly cheap so that way you can replace them easily when they do crash, because when you do crash, they're going to break. So if I get this centered near the middle of the motor here and bring it across the other side, you can see it comes up to be about 220. So that's a great size for a racing quad. And also left to right, this thing comes up to be about 145 millimeters, and from the front to back it comes up to be about 165 millimeters. So it is definitely a stretch deck. So if you've become a fan of the stretch decks, this one is going to be a contender. Now the B-Fight 210 that I looked at earlier, it is a true X. So, you know, everybody has their own favorite style. Me, I've kind of tended to like the stretch decks, and that's only because I feel like I fly them a little faster. I'm going to get some measurements off of this frame. Let's see how wide these arms are. The arms are almost 11 millimeters wide, 10.5 or so. And the arms are coming in about 3.5 millimeters. Is that right? What's this one? Yeah, about 3.6 millimeters. 3.5. So yeah, probably 3.5 or 3.6 millimeters, which is a little bit thinner than a 4-inch. So they're probably able to shim a little bit of weight off because of the little bit thinner arms. Let's see how well they flex. Oh yeah, again, these don't have any flex in them at all. Well, maybe a little bit, but nothing to even be concerned about. Inside here, let's see how far apart the spacers are. These are about 20 millimeters, so you're going to need a smaller size camera to fit inside here. Your HS1177 style of camera is going to be too big, but if you're building an ultralight frame, you probably weren't planning to use an HS1177 style of camera, so you should be okay there. There's also plenty of room inside here where you can stack up your electronics in. If I just get it close, about 30 millimeters of space back here, and a little bit more up here in the front, where you can stack up your electronics in there. And one thing that's kind of nice is that a lot of the video transmitters now are coming with a 30 by 30 mounting plates, so you can mount it right up on top of your flight board. So if you have a power distribution board or an all-in-one ESC, you can put that in here, put the flight board on top of it, and put the video transmitter up on top of it, and you have the little extension cord that would come back around to the little adapter back here. So you can get this to be a very, very clean build. Now again, with this one, you're going to want to use motors that are probably less than 25 grams. If you found them at 26, you'd probably be okay, but really you want 25 grams, probably a higher KV, probably 2500 or better on the KV. 2300s probably aren't going to give enough low-end torque for this kind of frame, at least not the kind that you're going to want, because you're building this to be fast, and low KV 2300, 2204 motors aren't going to be real strong. So I'll see if I can find some. I've been looking for a new set of motors to use on this ultralight for this next build that I'm going to do, and hopefully I can find some, and I'll share those down in the description with a couple of links. So this is the Flynoceros Æther, and it has a combo AE letter at the beginning, but I asked one of the employees and they said pronouncing it Ether is probably right because that's how he pronounces it, so we'll go with it. Now it seems to me like someone at Flynoceros wanted to build a roll cage frame, and someone else wanted to build an ultralight frame, and then someone else had a genius idea to combine the two together, which I think is genius because it's going to provide tons of protection for your components inside the roll cage without having any chance of getting hurt when in a rolling scenario, I guess, when you crash. The other nice thing is, because of the way the flight board mounts inside here, where the screws go through this bottom plate and through the middle arm and actually only attach to the top plate, you can take off these 4 screws, pull this plate off, and pull the arms off, right? Yeah, pull the arms off and be able to replace an arm pretty easily, actually, and it doesn't mess with your flight board because your flight board is only attached to this top plate, which is a genius idea. So I'm really glad I got the extra arms. So you pull this off, put the new one on, put it back on, tighten your screws back up and the little lock nuts back up, and you're good to go, and you're not messing with your electronics up here above. So the Æther frame from Flynoceros. I'm really excited about this frame. I'm anxious to see some of these frames flying. So if you have any questions about this frame, leave them down in the comments. I'll try to help you out as best I can. And also, if you are wondering what a Flynoceros looks like, boom, there you go. Now you know, and no one's half the battle. G.I. Joe. Thanks for watching.